Oh yes, it's coming in 3, 2, 1. On the air with FDT-TV, the premier West Ham and Arsenal football podcast, brought to you every Monday by Hawes Ian Varker.
Hello and welcome to week number 32 of the FDT-TV podcast. Now, as I'm sure you can see, I'm here alone. And the reason for that is Mike is not very well. He sounds a bit like Barry Manilow if Barry Manilow had a cold. So I'm just going to do a quick recap of things and we will reconvene next week in more normal fashion and go into some things in a bit more depth. So this is just a very short recap show of this week in sport, essentially. So the first question is Nottingham Forest versus Liverpool. Was it a penalty? Only you can decide. I think every VAR across the country would have given it to Liverpool, but it wasn't. It was against them. So they didn't get it, but I think it was. Nottingham Forest were robbed. And this is also a week where we saw the heaviest boxing match in history. We saw Hafthor Bjornsson, the Mountain from Game of Thrones, take on Eddie Hall, 2017 World's Strongest Man, the last Briton to have won it. An interesting fight. Four come out with more traditional boxing style. Eddie Hall went with a crab-like stance, going for some big hits. He did floor four a few times, but I think he was expected for to not be able to get up from those initial hits. So I think we'll probably end up seeing a rematch of that. It was an interesting fight nonetheless, entertaining, apart from Seggy TV, who were awful. But back to football. West Ham, we're through to the quarterfinals of the Europa League, and in some fashion, we beat Seville, the most decorated team in the Europa League, 2-0, and did it in fantastic fashion, really. Went 120 minutes, but we won in extra time with Yarmolenko scoring that vital goal. Now, that does put us through to the quarterfinal where we have drawn Lyon. So taking on the struggling French team who are currently sitting 10th in the French league. You have to say they have a very good team on paper. Dembele and Ndombele, there's a few others in there. Jerome Boateng at the back. But once we get past them, I say once, if we get past them, then we're either going to face Eintracht Frankfurt, where we got Sebastian Haller from, or Barcelona in the semi-finals. What a spectacle that will be. Obviously, there's no easy games at this point in the competition, but you have to fancy West Ham for that. So we did that in fantastic fashion midweek. We then travelled to Spurs on Sunday, and, unlucky own goal from Kurt Zouma to start off with. Then the tiredness, the lack of squad depth, left the game there for the taking, which I have to say Spurs took in outstanding fashion. The question is now, do West Ham try and compete in the league? Do they try and stick it out in Europe and qualify that way? It's a very delicate balance, I feel. I feel we could see a few more youngsters starting in the league. Obviously, we slipped down a little bit. I think now we're probably not likely to finish in the top four. I think if we're going to get Europe through the league, it's going to be the Conference League. I think our best bet is to win the Europa League and go Champions League that way. It takes some doing, granted, but we have the squad to do it. Obviously, people say Barcelona. They're doing well under Xavi. There's no doubt about that. But they've not played us in years, have they? And what they have to remember is that we are fucking massive, and we will take them down on our European road trip. But yeah, Lyon first. Once we get past Lyon, then we'll assess it by then. What we have to also mention in that game is there was banter from Spurs fans, as is to sort of be expected, with signs saying Kurt Zouma kick this cat and a stuffed teddy being hung over the banisters or the row, whatever you want to call it. you have to say it's quite funny. It's not funny that he kicked Scat, but the banter that goes with it is a laugh. I'm not sure what's going on. Obviously, they're known as the Yids, or the Yid Army. They sing it quite proudly. I know there's been some calls for it to be stopped, but there was a lot of Yid Army chants, especially when they were winning. So I don't think you can enforce anything on a large fan base. They will decide what they want to be called and if they want to be proud of it. Obviously, it's the heritage of the club as well, really, isn't it? Right, on to Arsenal. Arsenal travelled to Birmingham to take on Aston Villa. And was it convincing? Don't know, I didn't see it. But it was that boy again, Bukayo Saka, who won the game. And he's now been rumoured with a quadrupling of his contract to be able to stay at Arsenal. And if he continues to perform at this level, fantastic. What I think they have to be careful of is, one, he's young and he needs to be nurtured and protected in some respects. Yes, he's worth that money without a shadow of a doubt. But when you look at Willian, the big money signing, when you look at Aubameyang, the big contract, it's all gone downhill very, very quickly for those who've got a big contract at Arsenal recently. So the next thing you'll hear is probably he'll be on big money and he'll be made the captain. And at that point, Arsenal fans, unfortunately, you know he's going to leave soon under some dubious circumstance. But that being said, I do quite like him. He's a talent and he's English. That means come December and the World Cup, he's got to be starting for us, isn't he? I know he had a bit of a torrid time in the final of the Euros, taking that penalty, but he's phenomenal. And you could look at the Arsenal team, say Emile Smith-Rowe, Ben White, Aaron Ramsdale, all deserve to be in that England team, and maybe will lead the line for us. Or let's say lead the line, will lead the team out as quite a heavy Arsenal cohort in the next World Cup. And that leads us quite nicely onto the next and final part of this very quick recap. Mike Dean is retiring. The referee has made us laugh, has made us cry, has made us angry, has made us happy. He's been managing in the Premier League since 2000. 553 matches in total, 184 penalties, 114 red cards, and many, many, many memeable moments. Even when it wasn't him. Van Gaal checking himself on the floor, Mike Dean was the fourth official. You know, there's lots of things that he done. Being spotted in the crowd of that non-league team, phenomenal. We have banged on a little bit. Okay, he makes mistakes, but he's probably one of the better referees in the Premier League at the moment, so it will be sad to see him go. However, it's not all bad news, because he is going to become the second full-time video assistant referee. He will be running the VAR. And does that mean we're going to start seeing more consistency across the VAR applied to the Premier League? Because we've now got 2 full-time VARs. So that will surely help the consistency if it's the same 2 people doing it week in, week out, with no problem. Let me know if you think that will be a success, whether it will not. And let me know if you want to see an Eddie Hall, Hathel Bjornsson rematch in the UK. Until then, I've been Ian. Make sure you're subscribed to the FDT-TV podcast over on YouTube. Take care, and we'll be back next week.